This is Cutting Down the Nets, Friday, January 21st, or should we say, cutting down the bets. Only 2 in the pool for Friday. Recapping where we are, 55.2. It's been a slide. It's frustrating. Losing some coins. I hate it. I guess it's an unforced lesson in bankroll management. But we end the day on a high note. Boise State survives, and we avoid total disaster as they win at the buzzer. But before you say it was lucky, they went 5 of 15 from the free throw line in a one-possession game. So certainly in the range of outcomes that they're up 7, 8 down the stretch, although it probably would have resulted in more fouling and more missed free throws. We started the day with Providence allowing Georgetown to shoot 13 out of 22 from three-point range. Not bad for a 35% three-point shooting team. So, I don't know. I'd say Georgetown made anywhere between 4, 5, 6 more three-pointers than expected based on the shots they took. And I don't know, that's 12, 15, 18 points that sure come in handy when you fail to cover the number by 1. So, we're a little bit tilted, but we're not going to let it get us down. Here is what I got for Friday. Again, I show difference between my line and the spread off to the right, and you can see that clearly 2 games stand out, and they each have their share of concerns situationally. Fresno State at Nevada. This just feels like Boise State at Utah State all over again. You've got a hot team that's probably overvalued that you're buying high on, and they're on the road against a team that's not playing well. That's probably a sell low, and you have to decide if Team 2 is just cooked and if Team 1 is actually good. And I don't know the answer to that. I have to figure that out in the next 12 hours or so. Fresno, 67 in shot quality. Nevada, 156. But Fresno, only 4 games above 105 adjusted to O this year. They have controlled the pace, but so has Nevada. It's a tough one. Let's look at their profiles. We have time today, so let's hop into Fresno State's profile. You're going to see meh offense, which is the lack of green showing there. But then you're going to see a very, very solid defense. Stylistically, they play super slow, 351st, and give up a lot of three-pointers, and the teams are not making them. Nevada, much less consistent profile, a little bit all over the board. Defense, kind of there, though. Just doesn't have the ceiling that Fresno's defense does. And they are just the opposite. They play super fast. So when we match those teams up, we're looking for red and green when I'm looking for matchups. So there's a likelihood that Fresno keeps Nevada off the boards. Nevada 265 in offensive rebound rate, and Fresno 16th at limiting offensive rebounds from the competition. Nothing else really stands out here. Both teams force a lot of three-pointers. Nevada's opponents have made more than Fresno's. That's about it. I also look at further twos just to see shot selection. Nevada settling for that awful shot more often, and they're not giving that to opponents, which can be concerning. Everything goes through Orlando Robinson. He's a high usage player for Fresno. He's their best player, post player, and the offense runs through him. For Nevada, we've got Grant Sherfield, who has not found his shooting stroke this year. He certainly is capable. And Cambridge, man, he's been cold. 30% from deep. He's missed 83 pointers this year. So will there be some regression for Cambridge? That's probably the story of the day. Don't know the answer to that. So I'll have to decide. It's kind of man versus machine. Machine says Fresno's fine in the spot. The man says situationally it's bad. Probably some regression due. Not sure which way I'll go, but certainly in my pool, and it will be Fresno or bust for me. Next up, St. Bonaventure at Duquesne. Bonaventure 66 shot quality, Duquesne 173. Bona offense joins the Bona defense on the struggle bus. But I expect this line to grow a tad. With a light schedule, there's few games, so some just catch attention. I could see St. Bonaventure being bet up into the 7 range, if not more. This is a tough spot for the Dukes offense. We'll look at their matchup a little bit, but data says Dukes. Not sure what to do on that one. Let's look at some highlights from these teams. One thing I'll point out, look at this. 354 in experience, age for Duquesne, the babies. They start lots of freshmen and sophomores. And then you got team senior, the St. Bonaventure olds, as we would say. So let's look at their profiles. This is what I mean by that Bonaventure defense. Woof. And then outside the VCU game, the Loyola game, the Coppin State game, and the Boise game, it's been a whole lot of meh for their offense. Long scoring droughts against Dayton. Just couldn't hit a shot. 4 out of 23 from deep. It happens. That game should have been much closer than it was. Duquesne side, here's why they are showing as light favorites. This 129.1 is really beefing up their resume. And now that they've played 15 games, these poor offensive performances are starting to fall off. They also shot very poorly against Dayton. Kind of similar treatment. So, preseason, Bonaventure was far and away better than Duquesne. And it's a tough one. I need a pretty big number to feel comfortable with it. Data says play it. And here's the deal. If you shade that 129 adjusted offense game for Duquesne down to 110, or you throw it out, it's still going to show as Duquesne value here. Not as strongly, but still a possible play. So I think in both cases, I don't go against the model. I just choose to remove things and sit them out. So the only games I'm considering as of now, Fresno State and Duquesne. I would not bet them at their current numbers because I think things can only get better. So that's what I'm looking at for Friday. This is cutting down the nets. We are looking to get back on track. It's a giant Saturday with some great games. I have no idea how things are going to shake out yet. It's a pretty big task to go through. I mean, sometimes that pool is like 45 games, and you narrow the first pass, knocks it down to like 20, and then you just try to pick the best of the best. And we'll do our best at that. So this is cutting down the nets. We'll see you for the big Saturday slate right around the corner.